When people hear the name Nikola Tesla, they usually think of electricity, lightning, wireless energy, and the famous Tesla Coil. But toward the end of Tesla's life, he revealed an idea that sounded almost unbelievable. He called it Teleforce. The newspapers called it something much more dramatic, the death ray. In the 1930s, Tesla announced that he had developed the concept for a revolutionary defensive weapon. According to Tesla, the system could project a powerful stream of energized particles over enormous distances and potentially destroy or disable enemy aircraft. But Tesla claimed that he did not want to create a weapon that would encourage war. He wanted to create a weapon that would make war impossible. His idea was simple in principle: if every country possessed a powerful defensive system capable of stopping an invading army or aircraft, no nation would dare to attack another. The press, however, transformed the idea into a sensational headline: Tesla has invented a death ray. But there is an important question. Did Tesla actually build it? The historical evidence does not establish that a working Teleforce weapon was ever completed. And that is where the mystery begins. Because although the death ray remains unproven, many of Tesla's other extraordinary projects were absolutely real. And some of them were decades ahead of their time. One of Tesla's most ambitious projects was the Wardenclyffe Tower on Long Island. At first glance, it looked like an enormous communications tower. But Tesla had a much bigger dream. He wanted to transmit electrical energy over long distances without conventional wires. Imagine a world where electricity could travel through the Earth and atmosphere and reach distant locations without cables. That was the future Tesla envisioned. Tesla believed the Earth itself could play a role in a global electrical transmission system. The Wardenclyffe project was supported by major financial interests, but it eventually ran into enormous technical, financial, and commercial difficulties. The project was never completed as Tesla originally imagined. The tower ultimately became one of the greatest symbols of his unfinished dreams. In 1899, Tesla traveled to Colorado Springs. There, he conducted some of his most spectacular high-voltage experiments. Inside his laboratory, Tesla generated enormous electrical discharges that looked like artificial lightning. Massive sparks filled the room. The electrical explosions were sometimes loud enough to resemble thunder. Tesla was studying high-frequency electricity, resonance, and the possibility of transmitting electrical energy through the Earth and atmosphere. These experiments became an important foundation for his later wireless energy ambitions. To people watching from outside, it must have looked almost supernatural. But Tesla was attempting to understand and control the physics behind it. In 1891, Tesla developed the system that became known as the Tesla Coil. It was capable of producing extremely high voltages at high frequencies. Tesla used it to create spectacular electrical discharges. Electricity appeared to jump through the air. Flashes of light surrounded the equipment. And in some demonstrations, Tesla even allowed high-frequency currents to pass through his body. To audiences of the 19th century, these demonstrations looked like magic. But behind the spectacle were real principles of electromagnetism, resonance, and electrical engineering. The Tesla coil later became an important part of radio technology and countless high-frequency experiments. In 1898, Tesla shocked the public with another extraordinary invention. He demonstrated a small boat that could be controlled remotely. There were no wires connecting him to the vessel. Tesla could command it to move forward, backward, and change direction. The demonstration was much more than a simple toy. Tesla had created one of the earliest practical examples of remote control. Today, we see similar concepts everywhere: drones, robotic vehicles, remote-controlled machines, autonomous systems. Tesla was already imagining such possibilities more than a century ago. Even more remarkably, he understood that remote control technology could have military applications. Tesla was not only interested in electricity. He also experimented with mechanical engineering. One of his most unusual inventions was the Tesla Turbine. Traditional turbines generally use blades. Tesla proposed something very different. His turbine used smooth rotating discs. A moving fluid or gas would travel across the surfaces of the discs, transferring energy through friction and boundary layer effects. It was an unconventional approach to turbine design. Although it never replaced conventional turbine technology on a massive scale, it remains an important and fascinating example of Tesla's unconventional engineering thinking. Tesla also played an important role in the early development of radio technology. During the 1890s, he was conducting experiments involving wireless transmission and electrical oscillations. He filed important patents related to wireless communication. Later, Guglielmo Marconi became one of the most famous names in radio history. But Tesla's contribution became part of a major historical dispute. In 1943, the United States Supreme Court recognized the importance of several earlier Tesla patents in relation to radio technology. This did not mean that Tesla alone invented modern radio. Radio was developed through the contributions of several scientists and engineers. But Tesla's role was undoubtedly significant. Another lesser-known chapter of Tesla's career involves X-rays. During the 1890s, Tesla was experimenting with high-voltage electrical equipment and vacuum tubes. These experiments produced effects associated with X-ray radiation. Tesla created images he called shadowgraphs. He was exploring the mysterious radiation produced by his electrical apparatus. However, much of his laboratory work was disrupted when a devastating fire destroyed his New York laboratory in 1895. That same period saw Wilhelm Röntgen's groundbreaking work on X-rays. Once again, Tesla was working at the edge of a technological revolution. One of Tesla's strangest patents came decades before modern VTOL aircraft became practical. In the late 1920s, Tesla proposed an aircraft concept capable of vertical takeoff and landing before transitioning into conventional forward flight. In other words, vertical takeoff plus horizontal flight. Today, the concept reminds us of modern VTOL aircraft. But Tesla was imagining such a system long before the technology needed to make it practical existed. His ideas were often far ahead of the engineering capabilities of his time. Now we return to Tesla's most mysterious project. Teleforce. During the 1930s, Tesla began publicly discussing a revolutionary defensive weapon. He claimed that the system could potentially stop enemy aircraft at enormous distances. Newspapers quickly gave it a dramatic name, the Death Ray. But the phrase, death ray, can be misleading. Tesla was not necessarily describing a cinematic laser beam shooting through the sky. His descriptions involved high-energy particles, electrical forces, and a system capable of directing energy toward a distant target. The exact technical details were never demonstrated publicly in a way that proved the weapon actually worked. This is where the story becomes truly mysterious. If Tesla had actually built a functioning Teleforce weapon, where is it? Why is there no confirmed working prototype? Why is there no complete demonstration? Why don't we have definitive engineering evidence showing that it worked as Tesla claimed? After Tesla died in 1943, his papers attracted the attention of U.S. authorities. This fact has contributed to decades of speculation. But there is an important distinction. The examination and handling of Tesla's papers do not prove that a secret working death ray existed. The most cautious historical conclusion is, Tesla proposed the Teleforce concept, but there is no reliable evidence that he completed a functioning death ray weapon. And strangely enough, this uncertainty makes the story even more fascinating. Because Tesla left behind real inventions, real patents, real experiments, and real technological breakthroughs. But he also left behind ideas that were never fully realized. Tesla did not simply want to invent individual machines. He imagined an entirely different future. Wireless communication. Wireless electricity. Remote-controlled machines. Global information networks. High-voltage technology. Automated systems. New engines. Advanced aircraft. And perhaps most importantly, a world in which technology could make war impossible. Tesla presented Teleforce as part of that vision. He believed that if nations possessed extremely powerful defensive systems, attacking another country would become almost impossible. His ultimate goal, at least according to his own statements, was not destruction. It was deterrence. Tesla's story becomes fascinating precisely because it exists somewhere between science, history, ambition, and legend. Some of his inventions became fundamental parts of modern technology. Some remained experimental. Some were never completed. and some became surrounded by myths that grew much larger than the original scientific ideas. The death ray is perhaps the greatest example. Was Tesla secretly building a revolution?